So I recorded a video a couple of days ago about Stalker Clear Sky. Fuck that game. And it turns out that the audio got corrupted and I didn't even know. So like I published it and everything on I was gonna say Facebook. When was the last time I did that? I published this YouTube video and a few days ago and I didn't even really check it because I just assumed everything was working fine. That's my bad. And then after a few days, I would say maybe about a week, I go today and I'm like, I'm gonna record a fourth video for this month. I was so happy to do so. And it turns out that that clear sky video that I recorded a few days ago was corrupted. The audio was overlapping. It sounded robotic. It was like mute at some points, and I was like, shit. I don't know if I don't know what happened. Maybe something happened during the upload process. And actually, no, it wasn't the upload process because I went back and I checked the original audio file and it was corrupted too. So that was definitely a program thing. I'm using, what am I using? Audacity. Mainly because it's free, but it's also pretty fucking cool. It's pretty in depth. I don't understand 90% of it. I just click the little red dot and I talk. That's my extent, my depth of knowledge and understanding of this program. So here I am, trying to remember all of the points that I originally spoke about in the first video that got corrupted. I don't remember a lot, but I do remember fucking heaps of frustration playing Clear Sky. All in all, it's not a game I would recommend. But here's the thing: don't fucking play it on Master. For the love of God, it is not worth. It's not worth it. The juice is not worth the squeeze. I probably, and this is a big probably, would have had a much better time if I would have played on normal, which in the Stalker universe would be Stalker. It sounds like it doesn't make sense at first, but I think that is like literally the name of normal in the Stalker universe. It's called Stalker. I believe it's rookie or normal. No, no, no. Damn, I don't remember. Rookie, Stalker, Veteran, and Master? Something along those lines. Maybe I'm confusing Arma's names for their difficulty. But anyways, normal. Play on normal. Don't even play on hard. Just play on normal. Don't play on easy neither, of course, right? You want some sort of a challenge. I know Stalker is a game that's intended to be hard regardless of what difficulty you play as, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I like the Stalker franchise. I like the fact that it's intentional. Like there is no real leveling up. There is no real perks aside the fact from the artifacts that give you limited perks and actually give you some sort of a debuff also with it in the form of like radiation or something else. Uh, I love the semi-realism that's attached to it, so it always feels like every encounter could be like your last. Of course, I'm being dramatic here. You could just always load the game and start again. But what I meant is like you never feel fully confident going into a firefight, and I like that feeling as opposed to like any other average shooter, like a typical arcadey shooter, like something like Far Cry, which I enjoy Far Cry. I was just playing it yesterday. We were gonna replay Far Cry 5. I already finished it the first time on console with a friend, and this time we just finished Sunken Land. We enjoyed that game a lot, and we were kind of still in the mood for shooting shit. So we all just agreed on Far Cry 5, and we were just gonna slap it on the infamous difficulty, which I wasn't even aware was added a few years after the game's release. And I was like, cool, we can try the infamous difficulty, and then we can all experience the story, which I enjoyed a lot. Like, yeah, I've had some issues with it, and I don't mean this in a derogatory sense, but like it's an Ubisoft game. I know that sounds bad, but it's like I like Ubisoft personally. I think they're a good developer and I enjoy their games, but they do have, and I've said this before, they do have this bad habit of, I wouldn't say copy and pasting. Maybe there is literally some of that going on, but I mean it. when I say copy and pasting, I mean it figuratively. I mean like all of their game universes, all of their franchises, right? Whether it's Assassin's Creed, whether it's Watch Dogs, whether it's Far Cry, whether it's the Tom Clancy series, they all kind of just blend in together, and they all feel like kind of like the same game almost, you know? And I don't like that personally. I feel like that kind of dumbs down the variety. And don't get me wrong, each game has its own identity. It's just I would say it's more on the vague, not vague, but like it's like yeah, sure. It's like you can tell this is a different game, but like barely, you know. And I would say that's my biggest problem with Ubisoft. And I feel like some people confuse that with being mediocre, and I totally get that. You know, I may be guilty in even saying that Ubisoft is pretty good at being mediocre, which is that sounds fucked up, you know. But once again, I don't mean that as an insult. Like there's so many factors and so many things happening at once that it's as a human, right? And this is a real psychological thing, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know how you're gonna do that. Maybe through the comments or just anyways. It is a natural human inclination for us to simplify things in our minds. That way we can kind of just go, oh, we can label it, we put it away in this little figurative drawer in our minds, and then we move on with our life. Usually, when something is stumping us or keeping us from progressing, we can't, well, for some of us, it's hard to let go and move on with life when there is an open problem that's like it's like the elephant in the room. It's like some people are totally okay with jumping over that elephant in the room and continuing with their life. They're like, I don't care about that problem. I'll deal with it later. I know a lot of people like that, especially with their health. Lots of people like they have health problems and they just keep jumping over that proverbial elephant and just moving on with life, not really tackling that issue that's right there glaring at them right in the face. So there's lots of moving parts. I know that Ubisoft has like, if I'm not mistaken, they have shareholders and they have investors. If I'm not mistaken, maybe they don't. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know a lot about business, as you can tell, but I know that they have bosses that have bosses that they need to. You need to make people money, and you need to follow trends, and you need to like make a game for everyone, which I absolutely hate that. I hate when people make games for everyone because these games for everyone end up becoming a game for no one. I'm sure you've heard that phrase before. And I'm a deep believer in that. It's like I like people who have conviction, who have an aim, who have a vision, and they work towards that vision. And they know that some people, lots of people, are going to get excluded in the process of the making of this video game. I like this in general, but specifically for video games, I like when people have a clear cut course. And that's what they're going for. For example, like Stalkers, like we're not gonna have leveling up and perks like Fallout. Not that there's nothing wrong with that. I love that in video games. Makes you feel strong. However, Stalker is kind of like, no, we're not going to have any of that. You can have an artifact if you like, and you are going to be pretty much surviving gunfights by the skin of your teeth. And I love that. I love the fact that they stuck to their identity. I love people and things with conviction, with identity. When you make a game for everyone, it ends up being bland. And most people will call it that. Most people will go, eh. I feel like more people need to be aware of that because, like I said, I know it's a natural human inclination for someone to just automatically just simplify things so that it's easy to digest. But there's lots of reasons why Ubisoft is the way it is, or quote unquote mediocre, like some people will call them. I like them personally, but I'm just saying, I can understand if someone comes up to me and says, yeah, they're kind of mid. I'd be like, oh, I can see that. I can't even argue too hard against that. But I will say to like have some mercy because there's a lot going on behind the scenes, right? Like Bethesda, I would say fall in the same category as of recently. They're becoming very mid. And it's a shame because they're not supposed to be mid. You're supposed to be Bethesda. Bethesda is a giant. It is a giant in the industry. It is a leader. And now it feels like it's playing it safe. It's not trying to offend anyone. You know, it's got a little wokey with the pronouns and with the, you know, the other stuff that I won't get into, but And for some people, that's totally okay, and for some people, it's not. For me, it isn't. I feel like you shouldn't focus so much on someone's gender, or I say this all the time in my videos. It's like it's not that gender is important. It's not that sexual orientation isn't important. It's just I feel like I want to focus more on who you are. Like if you're you can be a non-binary person and be fucking boring as hell. I don't want to hang around a boring person. I don't care what you are. I just don't want to hang around a boring person or someone who's and on the opposite end, someone who's not boring, someone who's like an asshole, right? Like you can also be a straight male and be an asshole, you know? You can I'm just saying, I feel like there should be more focus on people's characters, especially in characteristics and attributes and talents. But I feel like now it's just like even when I go on Instagram and stuff like that, I follow a lot of like left leaning news, right leaning news. I always try to like keep myself try to educate this stupid brain of mine on a regular basis. And you know, I see it a lot of the Democrats are they're very like, oh, we need representation. We need more blacks. We need more Hispanics. And I'm just like, wow, that's a lot of emphasis on race. But like, are these people that you're appointing to these positions of in government or in authority, are they capable? Like you're over here taunting and flaunting, not taunting, sorry, that's not the word. You're over here flaunting their race and their ethnicity and their gender, but you're not flaunting their capabilities, their experience, their talents. It's This is something I'm just trying to get a hold of in my mind. It just doesn't make sense no matter how many times I look at it from different angles. Bethesda, to go back to them, I feel like they've fallen for that trap where like a lot of their missions and all that, they're like, it feels forced. It feels like, oh, we need to put women in positions of power in this game. Like we specifically need to put women. It feels like, I think I said this before when I talked about Starfield, that like they have like some sort of an NPC generator where it's like it's very like they the parameters of that NPC generator or whatever is like, oh, we more black people, more Hispanics, more women. Like that's so weird, right? To have an engine that specifically has those parameters where we need more representation. It's like a politicized game engine. That's what it appears like. Maybe they don't. I have There's no truth to this. Well, maybe there is. Maybe there is a lot of truth. Maybe I'm spot on and right on the money, or maybe I'm not. I never checked this shit. I'm just talking out of my ass. But maybe they do. Maybe they do have that sort of an engine. It certainly appears so. I could tell you that much. But to go back to compare Ubisoft to Bethesda, it's like I understand that Ubisoft they have to make money, they have to follow trends, and they have to make a game for everyone. That way they can profit. And Bethesda, I feel, has fallen for those same trappings, which is like they have to make games for everyone. They also have to follow the current popular political narratives, right? They don't want to be the bad guys. So they have to make you pick your pronouns and stuff like that, even though that's divisive, right? Some people like it, some people don't. Like they have to follow these trends, right? Dragon Age is another one where it's like, I saw a video yesterday of what I was speaking about in one of my other videos about how there was like a segment in Dragon Age where like a person, one of these dragons or one of these particular races was like having a whole conversation about you about being non-binary, and I was just sitting there like okay, cool, but like can you still like shoot fireballs? Like, cause we're fighting and stuff like that. I don't know what your sexual preference has to do with me adventuring and us going into caves and dungeons. I don't know how that information that you're telling me now is going to be beneficial to my clan, to my crew. I'm still like, I'm hearing this non-binary person speak, and I'm just like, okay, but where's the importance in this? It feels shoehorned in. It feels like, hey, we have to do this. Like we have to check it off on a list. It's pretty crazy. I will say that I think I'm more optimistic than most people that I know, and that's because like I know that I am dumb. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that in a funny way. Like I know the more I find out about things, the more I realize that I don't know shit, right? And I know I don't know shit, and I know I sound like a person that to some may not necessarily come off like he knows shit. And I'm like, that's fine because I'll tell you now straight out of my mouth, I don't know anything. I'm trying to figure it out the same way you are, brother. You know, we're in this together. I don't know. I'm all I know is what I feel, what I like, what I don't like. And for me to look at a game like Clear Sky and go, fuck this game. Don't don't like that's a lot. That says a lot because like I said, how I got on that whole little tirade about me being optimistic and not knowing shit. What I meant is like I feel like most people just write things off instantly. The second they run into some sort of turbulence, it's like fuck this thing. You know what I mean? And I don't like that type of mentality because I feel like, you know, the best things in life you need to work hard for. And the best things in life will make you say fuck this in your mind. Relationships, right? Marriages, working out, all these things are hard. And your brain is automatically going to go to that place where it's like, fuck this. And that's most people. That's why there's more divorces in America than successful marriages, right? Because people feel that fuck this when it gets hard and they bail, right? Same thing with exercising. You know, once they wake up the next morning after going to the gym and they're sore, they're like, fuck this. The truth is, we live in an age where people just want everything instantaneously, instant gratification. They want results quickly without doing any of the work. No one wants delayed gratification, delayed satisfaction. That's been my experience, at least. And it's a shame because there's nothing more satisfying than working on something, being patient with something, curating something, and then watching it blossom in front of your face and then looking at its beauty, right? And that could be anything. Like I said, those two examples earlier, marriage, it could be exercising, it could be your job. You know, maybe you started a job and it hasn't been going your way, and then, you know, you stick to it, and the next thing you know, it starts going your way, and you're like, damn, I'm glad I had the patience. With that said, I don't have the fucking patience for Clear Sky. All right. I don't. Like this is and once again, this could be my fault because I put the game on master, but to my defense, I'm going to bash myself and also uplift myself at the same time. I played the first Stalker, Shadow of Chernobyl on master, and it gave me some problems, but nowhere near the amount that Clear Sky did. Clear Sky was so broken and unbalanced on master that at the end mission, I had to actually switch it to Novus on mid game when I was like the last mission is should I spoil it for you? I mean, this game's been out for fucking 15 years or something like that. I'll just say this, all right? There's a final boss in Clear Sky, and the the lower your difficulty setting is, the higher damage you do. So I had it on master, so I was barely doing anything to this guy. And I was like, and that last part of the game is so broken because you have to teleport through tunnels with these motherfuckers that shoot pinpoint accurate grenades and bullets. Like you could be running and you still get hit. Like they have like robotic laser aim that's brain meltingly frustrating. And maybe this entire game would have been completely different had I put it on normal, right? I think of these two games, right? I think of Wildlands, and then I think of Far Cry 5, which I experienced yesterday, right? Because the first time I played Far Cry 5, it was on console, and I played on normal mode, right? Because that was back then, that's the typical setting that I would play on. And I was playing Far Cry 5 yesterday before I found out that three people can't play together to do the campaign. Only two can. We ended up just playing for a few hours, just getting through the tutorial, which is long as fuck. You have to liberate an entire island before you even can have the option to play co op. Once we all liberated the island and had the option to play co-op in Far Cry 5, we realized we can only play with two people, so we pretty much did that for nothing. We all uninstalled the game and said, let's just play Breakpoint. So right now, it's either we're going to play Breakpoint next, Tom Clancy's Breakpoint, or we're going to play Scum. Today, a new update just came out, which looks interesting as hell. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the number one thing that I've been waiting for Scum to have for the longest, and that's NPCs that are like AI bandits, right? Like bots, if you want to get crude about it. But like, I'm waiting for that. I want to be able to kill I want to be able with my squad to kill some, you know, AI bandits so we can loot them and stuff like that. I don't want to just shoot zombies all the time. So the, Clear Sky has been reviewed by people way better than me in speech, in articulate points and reasoning. So there's nothing I can say beside like literally I experience everything that's wrong with this game. What are the like top 3 things that are wrong with this game? One, the pinpoint accuracy that the AI have, not only with their bullets but also with those fucking grenades, right? Extremely frustrating, right? Another one would be what would be another one? I guess if I had to say one of the biggest problems I had was that like I didn't get any warning letting me know that from this point on in the game you can't backtrack and go to a trader and buy better armor and rack up on bullets and bandages. Oh, the bleeding mechanic. That's number 2. That's what another one. God damn, you bleed for everything. You even bleed for fall damage. Um there's a third one too. I can't remember, but long story short, the game is so frustrating that it's like I tell you not to play it, right? But in reality, what I really should be saying is play it, but play it on normal, right? And but to be honest with you, it may not even work then because it does feel rushed, and from what I've heard, it was. I mean, it came out a year later. I understand they had like a substantial engine to work with, and they had textures to work with. They say it's the prettiest out of the 3 right now. There's 4 games in the official Stalker universe. And I'm assuming that the newest one will be the prettiest, considering it's got the best technology and it came out like a week or two ago. I still haven't even played that yet because I'm in the middle of Call of Pripyat, and I'm enjoying that one. It feels way more open world than the rest of the Stalkers. I feel like I don't know if Call of Pripyat is going to get any better, but I like the way it is now. It's entertaining. It's entertaining enough for me to try to finish the game. The gunfights feel way more balanced than any Stalker I've played so far. It's a little odd to have a giant open world Stalker game, right? Where it's like, I don't know, it feels weird. I like it, but it feels weird. It doesn't quite capture what the first Stalker has. So far, if Call of Pripyat keeps going this direction, I will say that I will enjoy that game. I can see myself enjoying that game way more than Clear Sky. Clear Sky would definitely be the worst, hands down, out of the 3 in my experience. But once again, some of that could be my fault. But the first one just captured Stalker. Like I feel like the Shadow of Chernobyl was just yeah, it had the open world element, but it was a little more controlled. The gunfights, the atmosphere, maybe even the quests, everything felt just like, wow, like this is a crazy good game. And then part 2, which just took the adrenaline and the shooting and just removed a good chunk of what made Stalker a fan favorite and just made it into an adrenaline filled shooter fest. And which it worked, don't get me wrong, but at the same time it kind of lost its identity in the process. And now Call of Pripyat kind of goes like, we're going to dial it back and still have the game be Stalker, but at the same time we're going to introduce something new, more open worldness. That's not a word, but I guess it is now. It feels like more giant in scope and in depth, which I like, and maybe it'll get better as time goes. It's already good. I can tell you that now. I've been playing it for a few hours, or more. Can I say a few days now? And I've been enjoying it a lot, and I know that there's a high possibility it might get better. But yeah, I'm sorry I'm not speaking about Clear Sky as much. I already, in my defense, I made a giant video about it, and it got corrupted, and now I'm just freestyling everything as I usually do. But yeah, like if you're looking for more in-depth, like an in-depth analysis of Clear Sky, I'm positive you can find it from your favorite YouTubers or people who are in that Stalker universe that could give you a way better description than me. It's just it is true, you know. Every now and then you hear about a game and you kind of go like, if you're me, you would go, all right, I got to take everything everyone says on the internet with a grain of salt because people are very, it's very popular to be dramatic, it's very popular to complain, it's very popular to review bomb. So it's like you got to sift through the bullshit and go like, look, let me see the videos myself and make my own opinion. No, they were right. They were right about Clear Sky. It's the worst out the bunch. It's broken. It's difficult. It kind of removes a big portion of what made of the stalker's identity. You know, stalker's identity. I do believe that. But it's certainly not a bad game. It's still Stalker. It's just kind of like a watered down Stalker, and also a fucking broken and unfair Stalker on Master. I can't tell you what it's like on normal. Um, Maybe I should go online and kind of read people's, because I do see a lot of good reviews for Stalker Clear Sky, and I'm like, oh, they must have played on easy. They must have played on easy on normal. If they played on Master, they would fucking want to lose their mind. Um, Yeah, it just feels kind of like a DLC. I don't know how Clear Sky ended up becoming its own thing. I mean, obviously, because the developers had to make money, but like I feel like it would have done phenomenally. It would have done better if it was just Shadow of Chernobyl's DLC. And I think I've said this, I did say this in my original Corrupted video. I said kind of like how Oblivion had Shivering Isles as a pretty big DLC. I feel like Shadow of Chernobyl should have had Clear Sky as a big DLC. Like it shouldn't have been its own thing. It should have just been like, you know, well, a good chunk sized DLC. Um yeah. I mean, I can see like if someone, I know there's a bunch of mods for, oh, speaking of which, that is another big point that I spoke on the first original video of Clear Sky, which was like, if I can go back, I would play it with the community patches and the quality of life enhancements, because there is um a lot of bugs, like legacy bugs and stuff that never that are still active even years after many years and patches later. And I wish I could have done that. I probably should be doing that with Call of Pripyat too, but I'm not. I'm playing it vanilla because I'm stubborn and I'm a purist, and it's hard for me to let go of. Um, is I'm stubborn, you know. Like I'm like I want to be a purist, and that's to my detriment sometimes. Earlier, I forgot to say, Far Cry 5. First of all, it's a pretty fucking easy game, right? Wh- Now that I think about it, I forgot to elaborate on a specific point, which is when I played it on console, I played it on normal, and it wasn't really hard. But now I played it on hard, or yesterday I played it on hard before I uninstalled it. And there's this car chase scene in the beginning where it's like infamous for being ridiculously hard. And I spent maybe a good 45 actual minutes just dying. I maybe died 30, 35 times in a row. And I know for a fact that it wasn't me. You know how I know? Because after 35 times dying straight, I ended up putting the difficulty to normal. I went from hard to normal, and I beat it on the first try on normal, that car chase scene. So that's when I was like, oh, it ain't me. It's just this is a broken, but this is a broken segment. Tom Clancy's Wildland was like that too. You can tell that the mechanics and also the difficulty, they weren't meant to be. I put it on extreme, which is the highest difficulty, which is close to simulator. Like it's supposed to be realistic. A few shots you die, a few shots they die. you can tell that Wildlands wasn't built around this difficulty because the missions are like broken. They're unfair. They're not balanced well at all. So you can tell as soon as you put it on the difficulty that it was intended for, things work just fine. Ubisoft has that same issue with Far Cry 5 infamous chasing in the beginning of the game. Like you can tell it was worked and it was planned. It was developed around like maybe a normal difficulty. And I can't imagine on the infamous difficulty that you get first of all, you don't get the infamous difficulty right off the bat when you boot up the game. You actually have to beat the game and then you get new game plus mode and also infamous difficulty. I can't imagine that car chase scene on the infamous difficulty. You probably will shoot yourself after some time. Clear Sky. I originally said don't play it. I kind of still feel like that, to be honest with you. But final verdict is this, right? If you're going to play Clear Sky because you're a fucking, what's the word? Masochistic. You enjoy pain. If you are a psycho like me who's also a purist and stubborn and you need to play all three games before you get into Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl, right? I will say this, don't play on Master. Swallow your pride. I did it and it wasn't worth it. It was just frustration after frustration. So play on I mean maybe you can play on hard, but don't play on the last difficulty, Master. Don't do it, please. Please don't do it. Play on normal, and then maybe you might enjoy it. I don't know. Maybe it still might be broken. I don't know. But just don't play on Master. So, not really a game I would recommend, Clear Sky, but if you are going to play it for whatever reasons, play it on normal difficulty. That's all I say. Sorry if I was all over the place. I meant to record 4 videos for this month, but turns out that that one video corrupted the original Clear Sky video, and then I made another Clear Sky video, which is this one right here, and I barely spoke about Clear Sky, and that's how you know this is my channel, right? See you guys.